Good morning, beauties. Back with another episode of Supercar Mom. If you caught my episode before, you heard me complaining about what I didn't love about my Lamborghini Huracan. Today, we're gonna go through the things that I absolutely love about this car. 2019 Lamborghini Huracan. I've had it since pretty much new in 2019, and there's a bunch of stuff that I still really, really love about this vehicle. All right, so number one, my favorite thing about this car is most definitely how reliable this car has been for me. With the exception of flat tires, which has always been a bad luck thing for me. I've always had issues with my tires. With the exception of having flat tires once in a while, this thing has been the most reliable vehicle I've probably ever owned. I've had no issues with it. A little bit of maintenance, my regular oil changes, and that has pretty much been it. Nothing, knock on wood, has ever broken or broken down other than self-inflicted stuff like my tires and my rear suspension. I think I talked about that on one of the previous episodes, but I went over a pretty big bump on a cruise and caught air. We're breaking free. And after that, I had some leaky rear shocks, but that was my fault. So I've had no issues with the car. It's been amazing. It is kind of known in the supercar world as the most reliable supercar that they make at this time. And I can wholeheartedly say at 67, almost 68,000 kilometers, it has absolutely held up to that promise and to that claim. So, all right, so reliability wise, of course, it is a V10 naturally aspirated engine. It's pretty straightforward. Like, this engine has been built since 2015 when they first came out with it. So this motor's been around for a while. Transmission is super solid. I mean, it just has overall minimal problems. With the previous gen, the Gallardo, they had some pretty well-known issues in terms of fuel lines cracking and things like that. This doesn't really have any super well-known issues. It's just a reliable motor and you can just beat on it. It's just, they joke about this car being the Civic of the supercars, and it's because this thing is so damn reliable. But so that's pretty much it with the engine. There's not a whole lot you can see back here. Let's talk about what I do to maintain this vehicle on a season-to-season basis. All right, so if you're wondering what I do on this thing on a season-to-season basis, it's basically 1 or 2 oil changes. Super easy. I get them all done at European Automotive. I posted a video about all of the maintenance and what it actually costs to maintain this thing in a previous episode. We'll link that below. But oil changes pretty straightforward, and tires pretty much once a season, just because I do drive it and I put about 20,000 kilometers on the car every year, but super easy. Oil changes and my regular maintenance that's recommended. I did a transmission flush a whole 1 time so far in the 68,000 kilometers. I haven't even done brakes yet on this thing because it just hasn't needed them. So it's been great, honestly. It's the most reliable car I've ever had. Thank you so. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love that. All right, so speaking about actually driving this car and putting a ton of mileage on it, this thing is disgusting. Let's go to the car wash. We'll talk more about what we love about this car on the way. Front lift up. Let's try not to take the front bumper off on the way to the car wash. All right, so this person is in incoming traffic. Cool.
It's not something you want to hit.
Wow. I don't even know where the hell that lady was looking. Anywho, let's talk about my second favorite thing about this car, and it is most definitely, I was gonna say probably, it is most definitely the interior. So this vehicle has something called, or it was optioned, it's called Cucitura. I don't know how well you can see the headliner, and then also the matching Alcantara seats. But that's called Cucitura. That is Lamborghini's Q stitching. Citura is stitching in Italian. It is an option. It is roughly a $4,000 option for the Alcantara headliner upgrade and all of this green stitching that of course matches the calipers on the exterior of the car, which is why I have never changed the calipers. I love it. I love the option. It has been around for eons in terms of that styling. It's something that's not super new, but it is absolutely my favorite. Without the Cucitura stuff, it is just a plain black leather or whatever color you opt in for. You can get two-tone, but it's just plain black leather or plain black Alcantara seat. So I think it adds a lot, and I just really love the look of it. All of those green stitching is all incorporated on the dash right across, and everything, literally everything in this car is leather. There's no plastic. It's so cool. Or Alcantara. So even the doors are actually like real wrapped leather with little Cucitura Alcantara inlays. So they've done a really, really great job with it. Even without the Cucitura upgrade, the actual interior is all either leather or Alcantara always. So it just, I don't know, it just feels like really great quality. And again, like with 68,300 kilometers almost on it, the interior looks amazing. Like there's no damage on it. It's been through rallies and Christ, all kinds of abuse. And it's in great shape. And I just love the styling of it. I think it's so timeless. I love that. I don't know. I just love everything about the interior. It's just such a pretty car, and it really reminds you when you get into it, like what you're driving, which I think is so special. Another thing that I really love about this, that I really don't love about the next generation up, is that it doesn't actually have the touchscreen here. So the next model of this vehicle that came out in 2020 is the Huracan Evo. The Huracan Evo has a huge tablet, if you will, an inlaid screen that's all touchscreen, and it is pretty finicky to use. I actually really like the button system a lot better because I don't actually have to look at anything. I can just drive, and my CarPlay and everything, as opposed to it coming up on that screen. My CarPlay is not even hooked up right now, but as opposed to it coming up on this screen and me having to look down while I'm driving, everything shows up on my dash. Yes, the car is 5 years old now, but I still super prefer, it has all like the newest stuff on it. I just super prefer the layout on this one over the newer models. Also, another thing I love about the interior on this is that there are, of course, every single time something starts beeping on me. Another thing I love about this is that everything is in Italian. So if you're looking at this little gauge cluster here, it says pressure olio, which is oil, obviously, temp olio, temperature of the oil, and then batteria, so the battery. Kind of cool. And then if you're looking at the actual dash cluster, like the actual main dash, instead of fuel or gas, it says benzina, which I love. And then it says temp aqua, which is of course water temperature, which, I mean, everybody would know what those words are in English, but I don't know, it's a cute little like add-on that they do that it's in Italian. Same thing with the toggle for the actual sport modes. Strada means street, of course, and then there's sport, and then corsa means track. So all of these little Italian throwaways I think are super adorable. And then the little Italian flag that's on the back of my seat, just to remind you that you're driving an Italian car. It's cute. I don't know. They've done a really good job with just these little tiny details. All right, we are pulling up to the car wash. What not shitty, super dirty bay do we want to go? Oh, that one I think he just cleaned. What do you think? We're gonna go into this one here. The worker dude is washing. Oh, we're gonna get hit by two beige Corollas. Two beige Corollas in reverse at the same time.
What's worse than one beige Corolla?
Two beige Corollas. All right, here.
Top 10 radar, yeah, we on your radar. Never miss, dog, and that's on occasion. Yeah, we on your radar.
Today, and I'm not using a brush because I never use a brush.
This is what you told me never to do.
If you tell anybody that I'm using a brush on my car, I will deny it.
Well, there's video proof now, Steph. It looks like you're using a brush.
All right, we're all done. That thing sounds awesome. Okay, that sounds awesome. Let's head back to the studio. I don't ever dry it. So we were gonna talk about the third thing. We are gonna talk about the third thing that I love most about this car, and that is definitely the exhaust. But that 1940s Buick was pretty badass in terms of the way it sounded. We'll do a few clips of the exhaust on this one as well, but I'm absolutely obsessed with the way that this car sounds. Full disclosure, I did of course change the exhaust on this car. It came from factory with a sport exhaust, which is an upgraded from the factory, but the thing is enormous and weighs a ton, and I wanted it louder, so I ended up switching out to an independent exhaust back a few years ago. Thing sounds awesome. I love it, and of course with the tune and the backfiring, it just adds to the whole experience and the fun of it. Alrighty, so on our drive back to the studio, I guess we can talk about the number 4 thing that I like most about this car, and that's definitely the drivability. This car is actually really, really comfortable and pretty darn easy to drive. With the exception of the blind spots that we talked about last time, drivability in this car, it's super, super comfy. I've been in the car as many as 8, maybe 10 hours of driving in this thing, and it is super comfy. It is super easy to drive. It has a lot of like driver feedback. I don't know, it's just a really great, easy car to drive. Like I've been in a lot of supercars, and some of them are difficult to drive, some are uncomfortable, sometimes the shifting is a little bit crazy. This is just one of those cars that you can get in, you can drive comfortably. It does what you want it to do. It has the power when you need the power, it has the handling when you need the handling. I don't know, just all around it is an absolute experience to drive through and through. I also super appreciate it because I've been on the track with this a few times as well, and it's just, I don't know, all around it ticks all the boxes and hits all the metrics in terms of what you want from a supercar. Like, you get the experience. It's an experience every time you get into it. You can bring it on the track, you can beat on it and not worry about, again, back to the reliability, but catching fire or something terrible happening to it, because it is a super reliable vehicle. I don't know, it's just great. Like, in terms of like throwing into corners on the track or straights, it does everything that it really needs to do. And this is a rear wheel drive, so of course it is a little bit squirrelier than an all-wheel drive like Lucas's Gallardo, for example, or the all-wheel drive version of this car. But I actually really like that about this vehicle. I like that it has a lot of positive driver feedback, and you know exactly what the car is going to do. Like, you can feel this thing, if it's going to slip out and if you're going to lose the back end, you can feel it going. I don't know, it's really, really engaging, and it's, again, super easy to drive in that regard. Unless you don't know how to save it from it sliding out, then that's another story altogether. But day-to-day driving, this is absolutely a daily drivable supercar through and through, between the reliability and how comfy it is. It's even got heated seats, for God's sakes. If this was all-wheel drive, I would probably throw winters on it and drive it. Not probably, I would absolutely throw winters on it and drive it all year round, because it's just that confidence inspiring. All right, so now that we're back at the studio, let's show you what this thing sounds like. So I love the exhaust on this car. I've always loved the sound and the tone of a naturally aspirated V10, but I wanted something a little bit louder. So I ended up swapping out the factory upgrade, which was a sport exhaust that came with this vehicle, for the Akrapovic exhaust, which is a little bit throatier, a little bit louder, and I love it. So it's not an official what I love about a Lamborghini Huracan, it's more an official what I love about this Lamborghini Huracan. I love the exhaust on this car. Anyway, let's listen. I love it, it never gets old. I love the way this car sounds. And I'm literally giddy, like 5 years later and 70,000 kilometers later, this car is still so much fun, and I don't know, I just haven't ever gotten sick of the sound. So definitely the exhaust is one of my favorite things about this car. All right, so before we get to my last and final favorite thing about my Lamborghini Huracan, I'm taking a pee break because pregnancy bladder's a real thing. Hold, please. Okay, I'm back. All right, guys, so the fifth and absolutely the best part of supercar ownership, and my favorite part about this Lamborghini Huracan, is absolutely the experience and the connections that I've made with people and the car community and the kids. Like, just everything about just what this car kind of makes you be, I suppose, is for lack of a better way to explain it. Just who you are when you drive the car has been an experience of a lifetime. So I have met some of the coolest people in the car community, and I have made a lot of invaluable connections with people and friendships over the last 5 years of ownership. And don't get me wrong, this has been the same since I started with my 93 Honda Civic hatchback, but this car has opened so many doors of opportunities and helped me meet so many people. And the kids, guys, I don't even know what it is, but just kids always know what a Lamborghini is, and it has been my absolute favorite part of ownership. Like, Lucas and I, we are always willing to let a kid jump in the car and take some pictures and really experience the actual vehicles. It's just, I don't know, it's inspiring. It's so uplifting for me to like see the excitement in kids' eyes. So that is for sure my absolute favorite part of this car, is just the experience that it gives, not just me driving it, but other people to be able to experience it. So, all right, well, then I have to shout out to Suds for having an awesome car wash in the Kingston area. This is a really good car wash for just a really quick run in and coin op. I mean, the amount of bugs that was on the front of this car, it's awesome. But as of now, I'm gonna go drive this thing because that's what I do. This is actually a pretty awesome car wash for a quick little coin op stop in. Shout out to Suds in the Kingston area. You guys are the best coin op in the area, hands down. The best car wash, hands down. Anyway, I guess that's the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, like, subscribe, comment below on what you liked and didn't like about this episode, and we will catch you on the next one. But as of right now, I'm gonna go for a drive because that's what I do. Gotta get the mileage up on this thing. Bye guys, see you in the next one.
I look like a bag of money I'm on. They wanna know what I'm on. She got diamonds dancing on my neck. That is the vibe I'm on. Drip way too lit. Who gon' check? You can tell me no.